BK, we start with this. A report yesterday from Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network that things in Arizona between Kyler Murray and the Cardinals aren't going too well. Kyler Murray wants a new contract. The Cardinals have yet to offer a new contract. This was Tom. I can never say this man's name, and I apologize.
You had it right the first time.
I know. This was Tom
P.
Tom P.
Yeah.
This was Tom P. on the NFL Network earlier today, recapping where things stand between Kyler and Arizona.
Here's where we stand. The Cardinals never countered and have not made any contract offer to their Pro Bowl quarterback, Kyler Murray, whose agent Eric Burkhart informed the team weeks ago that his initial offer is now off the table. Now, Arizona insists it is not trading Murray. It wants to extend him eventually, but I can tell you other teams are monitoring this situation closely. Cardinals have Murray under contract for this year, a fifth-year option for 2023. They could franchise tag him for a couple of years after that.
Well, that does not exactly sound like an organization that is trying to pay Kyler Murray $40-something million a year, which just seems to be the new going rate for quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's no point in Tom bringing up that point at the end. Like, okay, technically his contract would allow him to play for a couple of more years and then get franchise tagged for a couple of years after that, but that's not the situation here. Like, Kyler Murray, with a couple of years left on his deal, already wants a new contract. So it ain't going down that path, and it does feel like Kyler and his agent are willing to play hardball here. And they've done this all offseason, Jake. It started with the scrubbing of social media posts from Kyler Murray earlier in the offseason. Then he released that ridiculously long statement that almost felt like he had a gun to his head in a hostage situation. And now we've got this. So this has been going on for a number of weeks now, and this thing won't end unless Kyler Murray gets paid or traded.
You just wonder, what happens if the Cardinals say, we're not giving you a new contract? You don't deserve it. You're awesome, but you're under contract for a couple more years. You were awful in the playoff game, and we're not comfortable paying you right now. Have another great season. Bet on yourself like Dak Prescott had to do, like Kirk Cousins has continuously done in his career and continues to get paid absurd money. And we're just not going to pay you right now. What happens then? If Kyler Murray doesn't show up, what happens then? Does this get to a point where eventually they get so sick of it where they would consider actually trading Kyler Murray?
The Oakland Athletics are on line one.
Oh, well, you know
Kyler
what?
threatens the baseball card.
He probably would be one of their highest paid players right now, right? What was his signing bonus that he got being a top 10 pick in the draft?
I think it was like $5 million.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the A's payroll this year?
Oh, man, yeah, I think $5 million is more than they're paying their entire team. It's a mess over there. What a situation. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't think Kyler Murray's going to play for Arizona without a new contract. So maybe this does get to the point where the Cardinals feel like they have to trade Kyler. If they don't believe in him as their long-term answer, they're going to have to trade him before the start of next season, because I fully believe that Kyler would be willing to sit out games next year. I don't think this is just a threat or an empty threat, I should say. I legitimately believe that Kyler Murray is willing to miss time if he doesn't get a new deal or if he's traded somewhere else. And hell, if he's traded somewhere else, he's going to want a new deal right away. And I think the team that trades for Kyler Murray knows that. I think they would trade for Kyler with the expectation that they're going to have to pay him right away. But yeah, I don't think Kyler's playing anywhere unless he gets a new contract. So he's going to ride this thing out, man. And it's up to Arizona to make a decision. I think they're going to ultimately pay Kyler. I don't think they want to reset again. Right? They don't want to go through this again and completely start over trying to find a franchise quarterback, because it's not like there are a lot of options out there where they can immediately upgrade or just get somebody even close to Kyler Murray, right? Like, that doesn't exist in this draft or in free agency or in the trade market at this point. So I don't think they're going to want to rebuild. The rest of the roster feels like it's win now ready. So I ultimately think Arizona's going to cave and pay the man.
You know, it ended poorly, but Arizona was one of the better teams in football for most of the year.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kyler Murray's gotten better each year statistically. He took him to the playoffs. He was bad. So I agree. I don't think they want to reset. But you wonder, though, BK, and I know it's a Friday, it's not a Tuesday, but hypothetically speaking, let's say the Houston Texans are like, we could use a quarterback. We got a lot of draft picks. Would you try and acquire Kyler Murray in a deal? Would you be willing to trade multiple first-round picks if it meant landing Kyler Murray?
Two different questions there. Would I call and try to acquire Kyler Murray? Sure. I'd offer a fourth-round pick for him.
And you would hear this. Click.
And that's fine. Your second question was, would I offer multiple first-round picks for Kyler? I think you already know my answer there. I don't want him here. He's a prima donna. He is. And I honestly, Jake, I don't know if he would report to the Texans if he was traded here. And even if he did and signed a new contract, because once again, whatever team trades for Kyler is going to have to pay him immediately for him to play, I could easily see him pulling a Deshaun Watson and asking out after 1 year. Like, I don't think he'd report in general if he came here, but if he did and the Texans paid him, he'd say the right things at the press conference, he'd act committed, and then after a year, he would want out because he does not like to lose. And this team is not very good. It's probably the least talented roster in the NFL. I just don't think Kyler wants to be a part of this at all. And I do not want pint-sized Deshaun Watson here. I don't want to go through all of that again with a guy who I don't think is even as good as Deshaun Watson and a guy who's more petulant than Deshaun Watson. I do not want to take that chance, giving away multiple first-round picks, hell, even one first-round pick for a guy that is not going to want to be here for more than a year, if he even wants to be here at all.
Well, what if you pay him, though? I think he wants to be paid.
We know that.
So let's say, hypothetically, it's going to cost more than this, but you said you wouldn't do it for one first-round pick.
Right.
I would trade the 13th pick in a second for Kyler Murray. That's worth at least a one-year flyer alone. You know, obviously you got to pay him, and he's not going to play here unless you give him a new contract, but where are you finding a better quarterback than Kyler Murray? I think the way he ended maybe alters the perception of him, and I get it. He's immature. I think the social media stuff was stupid, and I'm not going to try and defend Kyler Murray. I'm just looking realistically going, you just had Deshaun Watson. He was by far and away the best quarterback in the history of this franchise. He's gone. You don't know when the next great player is coming.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's a borderline top 10 quarterback, right? Statistically, you could probably argue he is a top 10 quarterback. I would trade a couple of picks to get him. I don't know if I'm giving what I just got back for Deshaun Watson. Like, I'm not giving 3 first-round picks for him. But if I had to include 13th overall and a couple extra firsts or some 2s in there, I would seriously consider it because I'm just worried about saying, we don't need Kyler Murray and looking down on him. And if you're a Texan fan, you're probably thinking, well, where are we going to get a better quarterback than what might be available in Kyler Murray?
Do you think Kyler Murray is better than Davis Mills?
Yes.
Of course. Do you think Kyler Murray is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at, too.
He's only 3 years in.
He's folded down the stretch every season he's been in the league. And look, the size questions, I kind of poo-pooed that at the time of the draft because I thought Kyler Murray was worthy of the number 1 pick. I thought he was going to be really good, and I didn't think the size would matter that much. Usually it does. I thought for Kyler it wasn't going to matter that much. But every year he's been in the league, his body is kind of torn down, and he has regressed over the course of a 16 or 17-game season. So I'm worried that that's a normal thing for Kyler Murray. Like, I just don't know if he has the body to withstand a full season plus a postseason run. And I look at Arizona's roster, Jake. My God, compare that to what the Texans have here. So much more talented. If he couldn't win a single playoff game with that Arizona Cardinals roster, what the hell is he going to do with the Texans roster over the next 2 or 3 years? It's going to take the Texans years, especially if they're giving up draft picks to go get Kyler Murray. It's going to take them years to get anywhere close to where Arizona is right now, and you couldn't win a single playoff game with them.
Well, the AFC South is not a great division. So that'd be the one thing I could maybe point to. You do have 6 total first-round picks the next 3 years. So even if you wouldn't trade 3 of them because that's what Deshaun went for. But let's say you trade 2 of them. All right, you still got 4 first-round picks over the next 3 years. Maybe you can make some trades and pick up some additional picks. I don't think the Texans will do it. I don't think Kyler Murray would want to come to Houston. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's the craziest scenario because, let's be real, as much as I want to believe in Davis Mills and as much as I'm all about give him the chance, and if it doesn't work out, you get Bryce Young, you'll get C.J. Stroud next year, there's a big risk involved in that. And Kyler Murray, say whatever you want about him, he's a very good player. Is he a Super Bowl caliber quarterback? I don't know just yet, but he's young enough where maybe he can mature, and he's young enough, he's only played 3 full seasons in the NFL where I feel like, all right, you know what? There's still an upside to his game, and I'd have to consider it if he actually was available.
Yeah, the biggest concern for me is, and you said it when you were talking there, I don't think Kyler Murray wants to be here. Like, I don't think he wants to be here. Now, he doesn't have a no-trade clause or anything like that. So if the Cardinals and Texans agreed upon a trade, then Kyler Murray would have to be traded to the Texans. He can't turn that down, but he doesn't have to show up. And once again, if he did show up this year and the Texans did give him a new contract, I could easily see Kyler Murray wanting out after just 1 season of being here. That guy does not deal well with losing, and he hasn't lost a whole lot in his life. He never lost a game in high school. He lost twice during his college career at Oklahoma, once in the regular season and then once in the college football playoff. Like, that guy is petulant. He is not used to losing. He would come to the Texans, and sure, the Texans would be better next year. They wouldn't be a playoff team with Kyler Murray. Like, they still have the worst roster in the NFL around Kyler Murray. So they'd maybe lose 10, 11, 12 games, and then Kyler's going to be like, I just saw what Deshaun Watson did here. Why can't I do that? Why can't I go to a contending team and force my way out of here with this new contract that I just signed? So I don't think Kyler has any interest in being here. And, Jake, I'm not giving up valuable draft capital for a guy who I think is going to quit on the team very early on.
What if Kyler Murray comes back and in the deal, so is DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt? Would that interest you?
Only if the Texans sign David Johnson and trade him back.
And David Johnson gets traded back to the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
and we'll throw in Ross Blacklock, too. We'll throw in him, and then I would say yes to that deal.
I want to hear from Texans fans because I have a feeling a lot of them are going to agree with you, BK. Maybe somewhere on my side. Hey, you consider it at the right price. 713-780-3776. Call in. Give us your take. Would you trade for Kyler Murray if you're the Houston Texans? You let us know. You could also let us know on the text line or reach us on Twitter. BK's on Twitter at Brad Kellner. I'm on Twitter at Jake Asman.